Hello, my name is Richard Coffin. You're watching the Plain Bagel. Welcome to another question and answer video. Today I'm joined again by the fantastic Noah Faith, who has come back to us from Israel. Noah, how's your trip?
It was fantastic.
Excellent. While Noah was away, he messaged me and he said, Israel's great and all, but there's nothing I miss more than just doing videos for you. Could we do one when I come back? And I said, you really twist my arm, Noah, but I think we could schedule in for the first weekend that you come back. So here we are. I'm a bad friend. So for those of you who haven't seen these videos before, the question and answer videos are a bit more casual. We take questions from the YouTube comment section and from Reddit, and we answer them. If you have any questions in the future that you'd like us to cover, leave a comment down below, and we'll do our best to get to them. So without further ado, first question.
How much time does investing take?
The time it takes to invest depends on what you do. So if you do it yourself, it's going to take more time. If you take a managed solution like a mutual fund or a discretionary manager, there's not going to be a whole lot of work. You're going to have to meet up for the first time to do that risk questionnaire to establish your investment objectives. And then aside from that, you typically will meet either semi-annually or annually. Obviously, managed solutions, the reason why you're paying that fee is so that you don't have to monitor your investments daily. Whereas if you do it yourself, it's going to be a bit of a full-time job, depending on which approach you take.
Trevor asks, how do I buy stocks and bonds?
For the everyday investor, really the only way you're going to buy stocks and bonds are probably through a broker. A stockbroker is much like a real estate broker. It's someone who takes your order and tries to find someone else to take the other side of your order. There are kind of two types of brokers. There's full service brokers, which are brokers who will do your orders for you and then also will give you advice. And then there's the other type, which is discount brokers. And discount brokerages are basically the bare minimum of you call them, you give them an order, and they'll fill it for you at the lower cost.
Alex asks, how do I get rich without working hard and without any knowledge? Should I play the lottery? What are my odds? Thanks, Richard. P.S. If I'm not rich within a year, I will sue you for false advertising. Thanks.
Wow, high stakes question. Well, I don't know about you, but I always get these YouTube ads for selling wolf mugs. That seems like a legitimate business, I guess. I don't know. But in terms of playing the lottery, it all depends on your strategy for how you gamble.
You gotta pick the right numbers.
You gotta pick the right numbers. Whether you choose always Matthew McConaughey's birth date or just ones, I think you're pretty set with either of those strategies.
What's the difference between income and revenue?
Revenue is basically sales. So when a company sells something, if I'm Apple and I'm selling you iPads, the money that you pay me, the $4,000 you give me, that's revenue. When it comes to income, you can look at it two ways. There's income, personal income, which is if you get income from a security, whether that be an interest payment from a bond or something like that, or income obviously from your own kind of salary. But there's also net income, which if revenue is at the top of the income statement, net income is at the very bottom. And net income is basically profit. It's what the company keeps after they've covered all their expenses with the money they've made from selling that iPad. So for Apple, they sell that iPad, and then there's the cost of making that iPad. There's the cost of the employees. There's the cost of running the shop, all that stuff. And then after all those costs have been covered, whatever's left over is the net income. So that's the main difference between the two.
I get zero income from shooting these videos.
Yep.
Is it actually better to own than rent?
Right. When it comes to owning and renting, I think, it changes depending on the housing market. Prices of homes typically increases over time, but there's also kind of fluctuations. Sometimes the market's more expensive, sometimes it's less expensive. I can't really give an objective, absolute answer to that question, but what I can say is that owning a house is riskier because there's a lot more unknowns. When you rent a house, you don't have to deal with maintenance. There's no taxes for, renting a property and things of that sort. Sure, when you buy a house, it is an investment that over time, hopefully, depending if you bought in a good location and all that, you will be able to sell it in the future for more than what you bought it for. So that's a great store of value. But there's costs that don't add to that value. So there's costs that are lost along the way, whether it be the taxes, property taxes, the cost of if you had a real estate agent, and if you have a mortgage on the house, the part of the payments that are interest based, that's going to the bank. So that's not coming to you. and adding value to your house. If you're going to buy a house, you need to be smart and you need to take into account the location and whether this area is going to gain value over time, because often real estate is one of the most valuable assets that people own. So you need to really put the time into researching whether it's worth owning and if it's in a good location. And that's all the questions we have. Thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions in the future that you'd like us to answer, leave a comment down below. My name is Richard Coffin. Thanks for joining me today.